Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and the assembly shop is coming back this Thursday, and what is going to be released is the Kampfpanzer 07 PE. This is a tier 10 German reward heavy tank that comes with a unique numbered style. The rules of engagement are practically identical to this year's assembly shop as was with the Lion, where you can trade a staggering number of resources of albeit different grades to fill a progress bar and get yourself what will be a relatively rare tank inside the game. Now make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel, as tomorrow I'm going to be releasing a full tank review of the Kampfpanzer 07. Today I'm going to be letting you know my best tips for what currencies to spend and exactly how to secure this elusive beast on Thursday. So firstly, let's talk about the fact that this assembly shop is just 6 months after the previous one, as the line was released in January of this year. This is Wargaming ramping up their production of these big cash cow events, where previously we had a whole year to kind of gather resources from the Object 780 to the Lion, and is this now going to be a 6-monthly thing now that Wargaming realize just how much money they can make from the events? I personally feel this diminishes the importance of the events and also diminishes your ability to be able to save up for them throughout the year, as well as also massively reducing the rarity of having like a really cool number and a style on what would be a rare and exclusive tank. If they release rare and exclusive tanks every 6 months, in a few years, are they even really going to be that rare? Luckily, unlike the previous time where Wargaming had a 25% inflation rate going from the Object 780 to the Lion, this time the only thing that's changed is that they've increased the national fragments from 31 up to 32. So to all intents and purposes, the prices for the Kampfpanzer 07 PE are identical to the Lion. So to be able to get the Kampfpanzer, you're going to fill a bar from 0% up to 100%. And you can do this with some of the resources by just dumping it all in one area. Or if you don't have quite that much free experience, for example, but you've got yourself a bunch of gold, then you can kind of fill both bars. So now I'm going to talk about each currency individually as to whether it's the best one to use. So firstly, free experience. 10,000 free experience is 1% progress, which means that just with the Lion, you're going to have to spend 1 million free experience if you want to get the Kampfpanzer 07 PE. Now, while you can get free experience for grinding naturally all the way through the year, considering Wargaming are ramping up the production to every 6 months by the looks of it, this means that more and more of you are going to be thinking about converting your experience using gold. Now, if you were to convert 1 million free experience at Wargaming's regular price, which is 25 free experience per gold, then that will cost you 40,000 gold, which is still a significant discount if you were to only do it with gold. But remember, you're going to actually have to grind that 1 million experience, albeit on other vehicles, maybe using 5 times experience games, to have the luxury of converting it off. However, if you were to purchase your free experience with gold when it's discounted, which is up to a 40-to-1 ratio, that would reduce the price significantly to 25,000 gold. Now, that still makes this a very expensive tank, pretty much twice as expensive as some of the tier 9 premium tanks that have gone into the game via auction, but definitely starts to make an astronomical sum seem at least reasonably more affordable. Next, let's talk about gold. 1% is going to be 550 gold, with the max being 100%, so you could spend 55,000 gold to be able to completely get the Kampfpanzer 07 PE. However, 55,000 gold is the equivalent currently of £154.81 if you're going to be purchasing it not at a discount. That makes this a very expensive commodity, even if you were to get something like physical IRL, let alone getting pixels inside a video game. So unless you have absolutely no experience to be able to convert off your account, you'd be a silly sausage to actually spend the gold rather than just converting EXP, even if it's not at a discount. And also, if you really want to be able to get your hands on this tank and you don't think you're going to need the free experience until hopefully the next sale, spend at least all the free experience on your account, unless you're going to need it, and then top it up with gold as a last resort. Next, let's talk about bonds. 500 bonds will be a 1% increase. The max you can do is 100%, which means you have to spend 50,000 bonds to be able to get this tank. 50,000 bonds could get you 10 different pieces of bond equipment, i.e. you could make 3 other or more of your tier 10 tanks fully maxed out with awesome equipment. Or alternatively, you could go and max out 3 different premium tanks at tier 9 with bond equipment to be able to go and max out your progress, both with regards to credits and also your bond income throughout the year. Just to put this into perspective, 50,000 bonds is enough to get you the Foch 155, the KV5, the 121B, and the M60, which means that I think it's ridiculous of spending this huge amount on this tank. And last year, when I purchased the Lion on my free-to-play account, I used bonds when I only ran out of fragments and I ran out of free experience. Talking about fragments, let's talk about universal fragments. 20 universal fragments equals 1% progress. However, Wargaming know that a lot of you have a lot of fragments and they don't want you to be able to fill the entire bar, so they're limiting it at 14%. Accordingly, you're going to need 280 universal fragments to be able to fill this 14% requirement, and this should be something that everyone does, as this saves you the equivalent of 140,000 free experience that would be more than enough to be able to alleviate the loss of fragments, because you could use that to skip some of the stock grinds that you have to go through on a day-to-day basis. On top of this, you can add 32 national fragments, which is increased in price a little bit from the Lion last year, for 1% progress. You can max out at 22% progress, which means that if you combine these two, you can actually get 36% of the tank only for blueprints, which will cost you 704. And this is what I did on my free-to-play account, and this is what I recommend that you do if you are someone who really wants to make this as cheap as possible. However, for all of you out there who absolutely love to grind premium tanks at tier 8 or tier 9, then credits is also an option. 1% is 1.25 million credits, which means that if you were to look at this from a tech tree perspective, 5% progress in this would be the cost of a tier 10 tank, meaning that for the price of the Kampfpanzer 07 PE, you could buy yourself 20 different tier 10 tech tree vehicles. That makes this extortionately expensive, and it will cost you 125 million credits, which is like double the price of even the most outrageously expensive black market tanks like the T22 medium. In fact, even with the outrageous bid that I put in of 77 million, I could afford to get that and the Chi Lin instead of burning credits to be able to get the Kampfpanzer 07. Just a reminder that even if you're an excellent player with a credit booster, grinding frontline or maybe just doing really well in the random queue, this is still the equivalent of 125 hours of your life with 125 credit boosters. So be careful that while you might be tempted to dump your credits in, just don't put yourself into credit poverty inside World of Tanks, especially at a time when it's Wargaming's 13th anniversary next week, and while there's no confirmations, there might be an equipment and a consumable sale that you might need those credits for. The ridiculous thing as well is, in theory, you could convert gold into credits in World of Tanks at 400 a pop, and that would mean that this would cost 315,500 gold, which is obviously a lot more expensive than you just spent the gold in the first place. But of course, converting gold into credits is one of the most ludicrous ways you can spend your money inside World of Tanks. And so accordingly, we get to the ideal scenario. What I recommend that you do if you want to be able to get the Kampfpanzer 07 PE is that you convert 704 national fragments, 280 universal fragments, and then you're going to have to top it up with 640,000 free experience, which hopefully you've grinded over the last 6 months, although that's not really a possibility. And I can tell you my free-to-play account, even though I've not spent free experience on pretty much anything apart from this recent bonus chapter inside the battle pass to be able to get the fancy skin, I don't even have nearly enough to be able to get it in the last 6 months, and my free-to-play account almost feels like a part-time job. But please, 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 please remember that it's far better to convert your experience if you have it than it is to just spend raw gold, and think about the importance of those bonds on your account. And remember to watch my full tank review on the Kampfpanzer 07 PE tomorrow to find out whether the vehicle's going to be worth spending a large amount of resources. So now that you know exactly how much it's going to cost, how many are going to be available? Well, here we have the numbers for the Lion on the EU server and the NA server last year, and here we have the numbers for the Kampfpanzer 07 PE on the EU and the NA server. So we can see that there are more available on the EU server this year. However, remember that we've had all of the lovely Ukrainian population join the EU server, and so the player numbers are as high as they have been for a while. Anyway, there are going to be 75,000 available on the EU server, 25,000 with the style, and 50,000 without the style. Now, with regards to the styles, it's going to be a first come, first serve basis, so make sure you are literally logged in and you've got all of your resources ready as soon as the event goes live. As last year on the EU server, the styles sold out in about 5 minutes. Or should I say this year for the Lion, the styles sold out in 5 minutes. On the NA server, exactly the same amount are going to be available as last time, 15,000 with 5,000 within the style and 10,000 without the style. And also I have numbers for the Asia server this year, which is going to be 12,000 total with 4,000 with the style and 8,000 without the style. And this vehicle is going to be released this Thursday, the 3rd of August, and the times are going to be 5 o'clock, that's Universal Standard Time, which currently, considering it's summer, is 2 hours behind Central European summertime and 1 hour behind British summertime, which will be 6 o'clock. Now, I'd like to clarify, these times are subject to change. These are being provided for me in advance, and so please do check in the comments down below to see if the times have changed. But with regards to the NA server, it's going to be released at 1 AM, I guess, on the 4th of August. But for NA local time, that's still going to be Thursday. So for East Coast, that's going to be 9 o'clock in the evening. And for West Coast, it's going to be 6 o'clock local time. And so there you have it. Get yourself 704 national fragments, 280 universal fragments, 640,000 credits, and then log in at exactly this time and spend all of them within the first couple of minutes, and you too will be able to get yourself a very funky looking tank. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope this video was useful for you with the breakdown. If it was, give it a thumbs up. If it wasn't, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments what you think about the assembly shop being every 6 months now. Do you think it's just rampant pressure increase, and does it mean that you're going to skip out on this one even if you got the Lion last time? And if you're watching this video as it's released, now that the NDA is over, I can stream this tank. So come along, as I'm likely to be grinding it, or alternatively wait for the full tank review, which will be released here tomorrow. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.